Kisuk Wisdom, Kisuk Kukit, Kisuk Quiet, Kapanishkas. Welcome back, everybody, to the very last Wealthy Warrior Wednesdays for Season 2. I'm your host, Kinshuke Teshmiet, also known as Peter White. And, since it's almost the first week of it is actually the first week of a new season, I want to talk about circles and life and endings and beginnings, because springtime ended, and when something ends, something always has to begin, and we tend to forget that part. We focus on the ending part. We focus on that instead of focusing on what is going to begin. You always have to make room for growth, for expansion. And I've touched on it before, but let's do a story time again. One I've done before, and it might hit different this time. Story time. There's this father and mother, and they have movers coming in their place, and their daughter and son run up to them and say, "Dad, Mom, what are you doing to our furniture? Why are you taking it out? Where is it going? We love this. We love this furniture. We have so many memories with it." And the parents look at them and say, "We got new furniture. And in order for this new furniture to come in tomorrow, we have to make room for it. We have to get rid of this old furniture so the new stuff can fit. Otherwise, if we had both sets of furniture in here, we wouldn't be able to enjoy it because it would be so busy. There'd be so much going on in this room that we could not enjoy the space like we want to." And the kids looked at them and said, "Oh, okay, so we have new furniture coming." As in life, some things have to end. Some things have to stop being in our life. Sometimes friendship ends, relationships, jobs. They have to end in order for room to grow, for new exciting things to come, new relationships, a better job, bigger things. So with life, everything is a circle. And as Indigenous people, we truly, really believe in circles. When we dance powwow, we dance in a circle. Ceremonies, they revolve around circles. When we sit in sweat lodges, it's in a circle. Sun dances I've never been to, but stories I heard, they're in circles. The moon is a circle. The earth is a circle. The sun is a circle. Because it always revolves. Where you start in that circle, and you come back to it and it ends, and then you start over again. And you just keep going a lap, and then another lap, and then another lap. So this season end of this Wealthy Warrior is only making room for new exciting things. And some of you already may know what that is, because I've talked about it before. And I've been giving subtle hints. I've actually said what I'm going to do. And I'm going to record and upload my travels to my powwows on this channel, if you're watching on YouTube anyways. And I will be vlogging and uploading and posting about my traveling on powwows, because when I'm on the powwow trail, I don't have a space like this to sit down where it's quiet and I can record a podcast. And powwows are a huge part of my life, so I also want to bring you along with that. And to not overload myself, I just decided to end this season on a good note and then start a new season of my vlogs. And I learned from last year, you learn your lessons sometimes the hard way. You learn them the hard way so you never do them again. That's some of the reasons why you have to learn it the hard way. Because when you learn it the hard way, you won't do it again. And if you do it again, it's just going to be harder. And I'm going to take time, either a Monday or a Tuesday after a powwow, to sit down, now that I got the editing on hand and I understand it. I can sit down for an hour or two and just edit and upload. And you can come along with me on my journey as I travel the powwow circuit, as I see things, as I experience life. You'll get to experience life through me, through my vlogs, through my stories, through the people that I meet. So I'm really excited for this, Yes, the podcast will be ending, but vlogs will start. And then vice versa, when the vlogs stop, the podcast starts. That's just the seasons. That's the cycle of life. Everything has a beginning and an end. What happens when you finish a chapter? Another one happens. What happens when you finish a book? You start another book. What happens when one sentence ends? Another sentence begins. What happens after daytime? Nighttime. What happens after nighttime? Daytime. See the pattern? So whatever you're growing through in life right now, just know that circle will come complete and you'll start something new. Or maybe you are starting something new right now. Just know that whatever that is, one day it will come to an end. Nothing in this world lasts forever. And that's, so we don't lose that gratitude of it. So we don't, we don't take it for granted. Because if you ever thought back in your life where something you took for granted, advantage of, and then it ended and it left, and then you realize, wow, I really took that for granted. I really should have, paid attention to that person more. Or I should have, sat and talked with my mom or my dad or my siblings or, my ex, whatever, right? My kids. I should have been more present. And when good things have a balance, you have to have bad things in order to appreciate those good things. Because if everything was just good, life would be pretty mundane. Life would be pretty boring, to be honest. You need a little bit of spice in your life. We all do. And even if you don't like spice, I guarantee you, either you like spice or seasoning or both. You know, you have to have a balance of that stuff. You have to have a mixture. And that's what life is. Life is ups and downs. Downs and ups. Life can't always be in our favor. And that's what Sadhguru said, and it really stuck with me. He's like, he was talking about everything was going for you. And he says, you know, everything can't always go for you. A little bit it goes for me. Life goes my way a little bit. Life goes your way a little bit. Life goes their way a little bit, and the next person's way a little bit. And everyone gets a little bit of life to go their way. We can't have it always go our way. And that's what happiness is about. Happiness is about not having life always go our way. We just can't have it that way. No matter how hard we try, it's not going to be that way. It's just not. And the sooner you accept that, life gets more enjoyable. And you don't have to fear it, though. That's the thing. There's a big difference from understanding and fearing. Like, you know, fearing the sky is going to fall on your head. I'm not saying fear that. I'm just saying accept it for what it is. Don't see it for anything more or anything less. Take some time to actually digest, to think it through, comprehend what is happening to you. Don't just react out of emotion right away. And I know it's hard. I do. You know, I still struggle as well sometimes. You know, I let my emotions get the best of me. And you know, recently, as I'm allowing myself to feel every emotion fully, it's like I'm relearning and re-experiencing life for the first time. You know, I talked about it last week how I watched that movie, Bones of Crows, and I cried. And recently I've been watching this TV series called Little Birds, and it's about 60 Scoop here in Canada. And I find myself crying every episode because I just reflect on my own life and how some of these things that come up I can relate to so much. You know, there's a part, I hope I don't spoil this for you, but I want to talk about it a little bit, where this girl is reunited with some of her family. You know, she was illegally abducted as a little girl from the 60s to the 80s. Indigenous kids were taken forcibly and illegally from homes and displaced all over the world. Not here in Canada only, but the States, Europe, other parts of the world. You know, this girl, she was taken from her family, and then her documents were forged, and they lied, and she was actually born around Regina in Saskatchewan. And the government lied and forged paper illegally, saying that this girl was from Quebec. So the government is going against their own law and illegally forging paperwork. You know, see, if one of us did that, it's a whole different story. But you know, this girl meets some of her family as she's grown up already. She grew up without them. I think it was like 5 or 6 when she was taken away. And she grew up, and she's in her 20s, and she's going to law school, and she's, you know, grew up in a Jewish family. And then she meets some of her family, and she just feels like she doesn't know them. And at the point where I'm at in the show, she doesn't even know she's gonna ever feel that connection there. And I was thinking about my own life and how this hits home for me. Like, it literally hits home base, because I have a sister I have talked about that lives in Lethbridge somewhere that I don't have a close bond with. And I have a younger brother from my dad's side who I have zero connection with. You know, I think I've spoken to him as many times as I can count on my hands. Maybe even just on one hand. I've only encountered him maybe 5 times or less. And there's no connection there. And as I was, reflecting on it, I kind of had resentment against him. Because as I talked about it before, my dad basically disowned me and my sister, my older sister. And we grew up in a small town. Creston, British Columbia is a really, really small town. Everyone basically knows everyone. There's maybe 1, 2, 3, 5 stoplights. There's 5 stoplights, if that. It's a very, very small town. 5 or 6 stoplights. Not very many. You blink and you pass through it. And there was points and times where I was with my adopted family, and I've talked about it before, but we would see our father on the same sidewalk as us, and he would totally ignore my sister and I, and act as if he didn't even know who we were. And he would be walking with his new family, with his son that he had with this lady, my brother. And they looked happy. And as time went on, he was there for my brother's, all of his moments in his life. Basically was a father to him, my brother, but was never a father to me. And after he passed away, in our ways, my father has a house on my home reservation. In our ways, technically it goes to the oldest male, and he gave it to his other son, my younger brother. And I was thinking about it, there, deep down inside I have resentment against him, because he got to experience what I longed for my whole life. And that's why this show really, really hits me, because there's no connection there. Even with his partner, there's no connection there. There's nothing there. And I hope one day there is, but I don't know if there ever will be. I don't ever think, right now as in life as I see it, I don't see that brother bond that you grow up having. And even same with my sister in Alberta. I've tried to reconnect with her, but I don't know where she is. I think she's on the street somewhere. I don't think she's doing very good. And I've tried to connect with her, but I don't know if there will ever be that same bond as you would have if you grew up with someone. So that's why this show really hits home for me. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that, where I'm at in life, and I understand that I'm in my circle somewhere, and it's a part of my healing circle. And when one thing ends in my healing circle, another thing begins, another thing comes up. And for me, I feel like it's never gonna be a never-ending thing, and I'm okay with that, because I know a lot of trauma has been passed down into my life. Need some water. Throat's a little dry. And but it's amazing though, because there's other things that are unfolding in my life that are good. You know, this past week, I've had a lot of performances. And I've had performances where I'm alone performing. And I've had more time to work on my craft and motivational speaking in person, you know, tying it in with my dancing. Not when I first kind of started dancing, I would just explain that I was shy. I would explain a little bit with the dancing and then dance, and that was it, nothing more. But now, this past weekend and this past week, I've had a lot of opportunity to grow, to tie my story, to tie motivation, to tie like teaching into just with my dancing and my performance. So it comes all together. It's a whole complete circle. And that's what I'm working on right now. And that's, you know, it's amazing how I performed twice back to back, literally right next door to each other this weekend in Vancouver, in North Vancouver. And my friend Ben, who photographed us before for the Salmon and Bandit gig of it, and he also helped us go viral with a video he shot at English Bay. He had actually never heard me speak like this. And he just came up to me after that first performance and he's like, wow. He's like, have you always like tied your motivational, your story with your dancing? I'm like, no, I've recently been working on it more. And he's like, wow. He was like effing A. It was like spot on. Like it was so touching and motivating, and it hit something and it was good. He's like, it was great. And then I did another one right after that, and he was just blown away again how it just got better. So that's where my life is at with there, you know. That's another circle I'm going through. You can have multiple circles that you're going through in your life. So just realize every beginning has an end, and every end has a beginning. So on that note, we are going to end this podcast for the season. Thank you so much for all your support. I'm truly grateful for every single one of you who tune in weekly to support me, to grow for yourself, to learn, to want to improve in your life somewhere, some form, somehow. And I'm truly excited for what's going to come this summer. You know, I'm already in the works. I just bought myself a nice new camera. I got some new editing apps. You know, I am going to give all of you a really good perspective on my vlogs. And I've been doing lots of studying on vlogging and editing and lighting and camera, and all for you. All so you can have the best experience with my journey. Because that's what it's about. If it wasn't for you supporting me and listening and tuning in, I'd just be talking to myself. I'd just be hanging out in my studio, just talking to myself. So thank you so much. I truly do appreciate you. And I see you, and I love you, and you're heard, and you are a part of this community with everyone else who tunes in. So show some love to each other in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. You know, let's get this community connecting to each other, because there are people that watch us, and who knows, you may make a new best friend in this community. You know, you may be living close to someone that you don't even know, and now you have something in common, being a part of this community. So I look forward to tuning in with you in my vlog in a couple weeks. My first powwow will be Browning, Montana. I'm going to be going to one this weekend, but I won't be vlogging it. I'm just going to shoot some video. I'm going to learn a little bit more about the camera and try to figure out the editing part. And we'll get that all tipped in and all sailed in and all shipped up. So when I get that first vlog going, and it will probably be not this weekend, the weekend after will be the powwow. So about 2 weeks, I'll have my first vlog up. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to load it as a Friday for one episode, Saturday for another episode, on Sunday. Just because so much happens in a powwow, and I want to bring you for every day across this. Like I said, I want to bring you the best I can of an experience. So thank you, Sukini, for tuning in. I will see you next season, and hopefully I will see you on the vlogs. Dagas, take care, and remember, everything always happens for the right reasons. See you next season, all my wealthy warriors.